Starting right now on ABC's This Week. Deadly rampage.
Shots fired, shots fired.
Breaking details on the California shooting spree. The moments of terror. The urgent calls for action.
We don't have to live like this.
And the chilling video and manifesto left behind. Then, the Pope's pilgrimage.
Viva el Papa!
His surprising message. We're live with Francis in the Holy Land. Stunning scandal.
It is dishonorable, disgraceful, and I will not tolerate it.
The president demanding answers. Will the VA secretary keep his job? The chairman of the Joint Chiefs weighs in. Band of Brothers. On this Memorial Day weekend, the memories that never fade.
What does this mean to you?
It's huge. This is what I needed.
From ABC News, This Week with George Stephanopoulos begins now.
Good morning. I'm Martha Raddatz. As we come on the air this morning, new details emerging about the deadly rampage near a California college. 10 minutes of terror when 22-year-old suspect Elliot Rodger opened fire, triggering a deadly chase with police. In this disturbing video, Rodger called it a day of retribution. Here's the latest. Police say there are at least 10 crime scenes, 7 people dead, including Rodger, son of a Hollywood director. Investigators also confirming 3 interactions with police months before the shooting spree. So were warning signs missed? Our experts weigh in shortly, but first let's go to ABC's Clayton Sandell outside one of the crime scenes. Clayton?
Martha, normally I would say good morning, but right now it is not a good morning here. Isla Vista is a community in deep sorrow. Behind me, the apartment complex where Elliot Rodger lived and where police say he murdered his first 3 victims. As shocked residents of this Santa Barbara community grieve, a clearer picture is starting to form of 22-year-old Elliot Rodger's twisted plan, a plan he'd apparently been working on for months.
Tomorrow is the day of retribution. The day in which I will have my revenge against humanity.
In this YouTube video posted the day before his rampage, Rodger reveals one motive, his rejection by women.
Girls gave their affection and sex and love to other men, but never to me.
He lays out his plan to exact revenge in a rambling 141-page manifesto. He writes, I found out that the sorority with the most beautiful girls is Alpha Phi sorority. I know exactly where their house is, and I've sat outside it in my car to stalk them many times. According to authorities, Rodger drove to that sorority house and started banging on the door.
Fortunately, no one opened the door. And shortly afterwards, witnesses reported seeing 3 young women who were standing outside in the vicinity, shot by the suspect.
One of 10 terrifying crime scenes on this video, people diving for cover when the shooting began.
He fired 2 shots in. It stopped for about 2 seconds before they just started raining through.
Rodger's family says that in the weeks before the shooting, they reached out to authorities. They also say he'd been receiving mental health treatment.
It's very, very apparent that he was severely mentally disturbed when you review that document.
Still so many unanswered questions and a heartfelt plea from one victim's father.
Too many have died. We should say to ourselves, not one more.
Now, of the 13 people who were injured in this attack this morning, 6 of them remain in the hospital. Martha.
Our thanks to Clayton. Here now, ABC contributor and former FBI Special Agent Brad Garrett and Senior Justice Department Correspondent Pierre Thomas. Thanks to both of you for joining us. And Brad, I want to start with you. We talked about these 3 interactions with police where deputies actually saw him, talked to him. The last was April 30th. They went over there because his mother apparently had concerns about his safety, whether he was suicidal, had seen some videos, not the one we just saw, had seen some videos prior. Should deputies be determining the mental health of someone like that? They basically said he was a polite kid and left.
At an alarming rate, law enforcement are being asked to be law enforcers and psychiatric social workers. And so when they are given a set of facts, they take them and they look at the individual. They did an assessment by interviewing him apparently at his apartment. He was articulate, bright, lucid, not typically what they deal with day in and day out with people who have mental health issues. And so it would appear that they sort of put it to rest at that point and felt like, what else can we really do? He's acting normal. He's written some inappropriate things, but he then, I guess, withdrew them from the internet.
Pierre, let me go to you. So what could law enforcement have done? Let me read from the manifesto that Roger wrote. As soon as I saw those cops, the biggest fear I had ever felt in my life overcame me. I had this striking and devastating fear that someone had somehow discovered what I was planning to do. If they had demanded to search my room, that would have ended everything. He said he had guns in his room. What could law enforcement have done? They didn't have a search warrant at that point.
Clearly, they didn't have the predicate to search his room. We talk about in covering terrorism connecting the dots. And I think these things are happening so often now that police are going to have to be more proactive. The one thing that could have set this in motion or stop it would have been to find out that he had purchased weapons. You couple that with the fact that his parents are concerned about him being suicidal, and you find out the man has actually purchased weapons. That might give them the predicate to do a search.
Brad, Pierre talked about the parents. The parents were clearly concerned. They had social workers involved, therapists. What more could really a parent do? He was a 22-year-old.
Very little, Martha. And the problem is that when you take an individual has no criminal history, has some mental health challenges along the way, has sort of found his way out of college, moving on, you know as a parent, he's got problems. What am I going to do about it? And I think they were doing the best they could. Once he becomes an adult, his ability to acquire firearms, to have all of these very, very dark thoughts, until he takes some action and law enforcement knows in advance that he's about to take this action, there's very little they can do. And the parents are unfortunately sort of stuck.
Pierre, quickly, I know we've seen since 1996 there have been 9 instances of deadly gunfire on or near a college campus. Officials you talk to say there really is a spike nationwide.
Martha, the problem is even bigger than that. Between 2008 and 2000 roughly, they were averaging about 5 mass shootings a year. We're now averaging 15. So it's a threefold increase. Law enforcement is deeply concerned. The FBI
Copycat? Is it copycat?
It could be some copycats. The FBI is now training police around the country in terms of how to respond. One of the things they've decided is that if you get word of a shooting, you have to go in and take out the suspect because there's no time. The killing will continue. The other thing they're trying to do is make their counselors available to police at the FBI, behavioral scientists, to consult with them about cases just like this.
Thank you both very much.